We finally have the TFT patch notes for 13.1. This is the first patch of the year, and we're going to go over the entire list of changes, and I'll give you my thoughts on how this is going to change the gameplay moving forward. For the buffs, there are a lot of them. We'll just go over the summary pretty briefly, but Ace, Admin, Laser Core, Mecha Prime, Recon, those all make kind of sense. I feel like they're like a tiny bit underwhelming, so far I'm agreed with them here. Dragonclaw, Infinity Edge, Hextech, Gunblade. Yeah, I think those could use a little work as well. Thrill the Hunt, Belveth, Draven, Ezreal, Fiddlesticks, Jinx, Mordekaiser, Set, Silas, Syndra, Talon, Vayne, Zac, Zed. So overall, I like a lot of these champion changes. The only one I'm a little iffy on is maybe Ezreal and then Zed and Vayne, but maybe they made some other changes later. Yeah, I see Duelist getting nerfed here, so it makes sense that you buff up Zed and Vayne, nerf Duelist a little bit. So let's just take a look at the full list before we go to like hasty conclusions, you know? Brawlers, Duelist, Mascot, Spellslinger, Supers all getting nerfed. Dude, I can't wait till Supers gets nerfed, man. That's literally happening tomorrow, so we don't have to wait that long. But Giant Slayer, yeah, for sure. But Giant Slayer was really good because a lot of the meta was reroll. So with less reroll, is it that great still? We'll have to see. Blue buff, yeah. Ludens, yeah. Jeweled Lotus, I thought that was fine. Built different, yeah. Double Trouble, yeah. Electrocharge, I thought that one was fine too. High Roller, Think Fast definitely need a nerf. Trade Sector, how do you even nerf Think Fast? Okay, I'm kind of excited to find out how they do that. Trade Sector, Annie, Galio, Jax, Kaisa, no, not my queen, Vel'Koz, Yumi, and then 21 hero augments total getting nerfed. Stuff they're adjusting is Aphelios, Camille, Misfortune, Urgot, Vi, reworking Lee Sin hero augment, and removing Blue Battery, removing Built Diff 1, Double Trouble 1. Okay, that's great because with Built Diff and Double Trouble 1, you're like, do I build a comp around these augments? They're just silver, you know? But now they're removing that confusion, and Pandora's items is being removed. They already removed Pandora's items, they just didn't announce it. So Fortune's Favor and Lunar Gala. Let's actually come back to this section at the end because I'm more curious about the gameplay because I got to prepare for like a tournament this weekend that I'm playing in. So let's just go on to the system changes. We'll check out all the other stuff at the end. Augment distribution. So hero armories that appear on round 4-2 now have a 5% chance to be all 5-cost units. I think that's pretty fair. Right now, playing specifically around the 4-cost seems a bit too easy of a bailout sometimes. Silver augment in a game, reduce. Gold augment, increase. Prismatic, reduce. Okay, that's good. Hero augment, reduce a little bit as well. Hero Prismatic Silver is being changed to Hero Prismatic Gold. Prismatic Hero Prismatic is now Prismatic Hero Gold. Oh, so they're removing that completely. Interesting. Prismatic Hero is being... Okay, so no more double Prismatic Hero. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good, right? I don't care about having like these in the same game, like Prismatic Hero. I just hate how Prismatics happen so often. So I'd rather just have fewer games with any Prismatic, but maybe still have these. But I guess that's one way to approach it too. You know, different ways to fry a fish. On Krugs, they're now guaranteed to drop at least 2 item components. Very nice. Carousel adjustments. The 3x tier glove random components carousel has been changed to 3 tiers, 3 gloves, 3 giants belt. And then onto the champion star level spell scaling. We're reducing the spell scaling for every 3-star, 2-star, and 3-cost unit as they are overpowering across the board relative to how difficult they are to get. With increased player damage, we're seeing a faster meta, blah, blah, blah. Below, here's the change. So 3-star, 2-cost champion spell scaling is being reduced by 5%. 3-star, 3-cost champion spell scaling reduced by 10%. I guess if you nerf it across the board, that kind of does make sense. Normally, I thought they did it individually and then they just had like approximates at percentages like this. So I guess that today I learned that. Any 3 burst shield damage being changed from 335 to 325. Draven Whirling Dash 175 to 150. Do we need to read all this or is this scaling the same percentage? Oh, never mind. I guess they are approximates. So Fiora is getting a nerf. Malphite nerfed as well. Very tiny one. Who cared about Malphite's damage, right? Rel 3 being nerfed. Rel actually smacks really hard right now. Sivir Pizza Delivery. AD ratio reduced. Yasuo Steel Tempest damage reduced. Yeah, Yasuo was super broken. Alistair Pulverize reduced as well. Kaisa 3. Unfortunate, but I guess it's had to happen. Nyla 3. Yeah, Nyla, the new Nyla Yumi comp is disgusting. Riven 3, Bunny Blade damage being reduced. And then Sona 3, Crescendo Sequence is having a nerf as well. And lastly, Zoe also being reduced. Yeah, makes kind of sense. All these rerolls were pretty degenerate. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see what they have next because I'm excited to hopefully play some of the Anima Squad comps. It's the year of the bunny, and Anima Squad is the bunny trait. So ace execution threshold is being increased at 1 ace. So that's a big buff to MF, big buff to Samira, Mordekaiser, maybe even Draven. Admin 6-piece bonus being buffed up. No one really reached 6 admin. It's so hard, right? But I guess it is possible. On kill cause has been re-enabled, and then you can gain permanent health, do all the same nonsense you did before, and then they're adjusting when admins drop below 40% HP, and that's for all buffs for gaining permanent health, AD, AP, AS, on allied death. This one's being buffed too. So they're buffing admin in a lot of ways right now. On spellcast being buffed as well. On spellcast, only the champion heals being buffed, and then on combat start, this one's being nerfed a little bit. I wonder why. Was this one too strong? I guess for your team. The one I'm surprised they didn't nerf was on combat start, admin champions gain ability power. I feel like that one was super strong. You just stabilize so hard with a LeBlanc. But yeah, most of these aren't like that big of changes. Of course, you just play around your admin whatever you get that game. You can't exactly handpick your admin trait, right? Because they're just looking just at the buff and nerf list. There are already so many options. For every 5 seconds, team gaining permanent health being nerfed. A lot of people defaulted to this, but the attack speed's being buffed, gold drops being buffed, brawler max health bonus is being nerfed, of course. Okay, this is the big change. Like, who cares about all this admin stuff taking up the entire page of the patch notes? The big change we actually needed to see was just this brawler change. All right, so 2 and 4 brawler staying the same, 6 brawler nerfed by 5%, and 8 brawler nerfed by 21%. Very welcome there. I think 8 brawler probably is still worth it to play in a lot of cases, but maybe now it's sort of like how, you know, when you play 8 duelists, eventually you drop Kale and Gangplank in order to play real units such as like random legendaries or maybe extra traits you want to fit in. I think the same's going to be for brawler now, because before you just always played 8 brawler, you didn't care about any units to be replaced, and then yeah, that was just your team. But now I think you have to make that decision later on. Duelist attack speed nerfed at 2 duelists, nerfed at 4 duelists. Okay, so the early game duelist package is going to be hurting a little bit there. 4 duelists nerfed a little bit too, and then 6 duelists. So pretty much like the same percent approximately nerf across the board. Duelists were a little strong, but you can get 12 stacks now. So they're going to be built more for scaling in a fight rather than just like stacking up really quickly and then killing everything really quickly. So that definitely affects the Locket build a lot. Now that you look at this, I think Lockets will still be good because Lockets are good in a comp without any tanks, but it's not going to be turbo OP like it was last patch. Laser core damage, this one is being buffed at 3 laser core, buffed at 6, and buffed at 9. So that is pretty big. The 9 one I think was already really good, but apparently they didn't think so. Mortdog has been saying that this was the Exodia of the set. And whenever I played it, I did well with it, but it is hard to get. But I guess buffing it is kind of cool too, so we get to see more laser damage. Mascot max health regen per 2 seconds is being the same at 2 mascot, nerfed at 4, nerfed at 6, and nerfed at 8. I've never actually reached 8 mascot, but it would be fun to kind of do. But yeah, it makes complete sense. The Yuumi comp was very oppressive, and a lot of it wasn't even due to Yuumi. Sometimes a 3-star Galio with Sunfire and Ionic Spark just like smurfed on everyone. Mecha Prime is being buffed at 3 and 5. We have to see how they change the other Mecha Prime units in order to fully assess this change. Recon Dash AI updated to better avoid crowds, very nice. Super's base damage increase reduced by 2%. Bonus damage is being changed per 3-star from 5 to 3. So they're doing something very interesting here. They normally like having everything be a round number, and they're kind of breaking that rule a tiny bit by going down to 18%, going down to 3%. Obviously, single digits, it's easier to go to breaking the 1, 5, 10 multiple rule or whatever. And did they need to do both of these? I'm afraid that reroll without supers might be too bad, you know? Because this is a pretty sizable change. Let's say you had supers in with 3 3-stars. Before, you would have 35% damage increase. Now, in the new one, To get to 35%, you need to have around 6 3-star units. So that's a pretty sizable difference, right? And don't forget, they also nerfed a bunch of the 3-stars. So that's a lot of changes. I wonder if reroll is just going to be dead, actually. At least the ones that relied on supers before. Spellslinger ability bonus power is going to be the same at 2 Spellslinger, nerfed a bit at 4, nerfed at 6, and nerfed at 8. Makes a lot of sense. This trait, vertical, was way too strong. You actually, like, on the last patch, 6 Spellslinger Talia was just, like, infinitely stronger than 4. Spellslinger Meteor ability power damage ratio is being increased at 8. Okay, so there's still, like, a hypey thing at the very end at the vertical, but it's really hard to get to 8. Units no longer launch meteors as their first attack in combat. I thought that was a bug, but apparently it was intended. And then onto the units. So Galio, mana nerf. Okay, see what I mean? They're nerfing supers, but they're also nerfing a lot of the units and the 3-stars. So I really wonder if it's too much, you know, because I don't want a meta where there's 0 reroll. I feel like having some is pretty good, at least as an option. Galio, out of my way shield is being reduced as well. Silas getting buffed. Yeah, Silas was a unit we just ignored in our shop every time in the last patch, or in the last month, I should say. And then the blast heal amount is being increased just a tiny bit. Talon attack speed up a tiny bit, and then Oxygen diplomacy damage is being buffed. So I guess they did buff one rerollable unit. I'm really hoping that Talon reroll is going to be back. Not because it's going to be good, but I just want it to be an option if I get like a lot of Talons and I get the carry augment in the early game. I just want the option to go for it without feeling bad, you know, and still have a chance to win. Because right now when you take it, it's like, oh, I'm just going to get like a 4th or something like that. And that's if you hit. And if you don't hit, like potentially you go 8th. I guess it's a fair trade-off because you'll probably hit, right? But I want the option to like, if you get some other really good stuff, you can sometimes go first or something. But onto units tier 2, Annie max mana nerf. Yeah, Annie is pretty busted. She is way too good as a 2-cost tank. I think she's the best 2-cost tank in recent memory, at least. Annie burst shield is being decreased as well. Yeah, I guess this is fair. She's really, really good, so I think this makes complete sense. And there's so few cases where she doesn't cast before her Ox Force expires, so this mana change isn't like that bad, right? Camille tactical sweep damage ratio is being... Wait, is being buffed? Oh, buffed at 1-star, same at 2-star, nerfed at 3-star. Completely fine way to deal with Camille. Congrats. I am very proud of the Riot team for this one. Is the 3-star nerf enough? That we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Draven's attack speed being increased a tiny bit. Ezreal's sabotage damage is being buffed across the board. I thought Rising Spellforce Ezreal was so good. What I'm afraid now, they're probably going to change his augment, right? But Ezreal should be playable as a carry without the augment, at least at some semi-viable level. But right now, I don't think he is. So buffing him makes a lot of sense if they nerf Rising Spellforce. Jinx attack damage increase. Yeah, Jinx wasn't a real unit. Same with Silas. And then Fishbone's damage increase as well. By blast damage, shield, thunder is being changed to a flat 50% armor shred. Makes a lot of sense for consistency. Yuumi -1 range. Projectile damage is being reduced at all levels. Okay, so Yuumi, again, when you're losing the super damage, and then you're losing actual damage, and then the mascots aren't as tanky. Like, I get it. Yuumi was the best comp, right? Or one of the best comps, at least. But it seems pretty heavy, because there's a big difference between Yuumi one-tapping the backline and Yuumi taking 2 casts to kill someone and leaving them at 1 health after the first cast. There's a very big difference between those two things. So is she just always going to have to 2-tap people now? It's what it's looking like. Onto units tier 3, Jax. Less damage by 5 makes complete sense, but he needs more. So adaptive strike damage is being reduced by 10 at 1-star, reduced by 15 at 2-star, and reduced by 35 at 3-star. And then the stack damage is being reduced as well. Okay, so I guess that is enough. Is it enough? There's also the Brawler nerf we have to consider too, but Jax was like super OP. I think Jax was even better than Yuumi. And then they're also nerfing his max strike at full stacks damage. And I guess it caps out at this amount, 600 now instead of 810. Maybe this is enough. If they nerf maybe Renekton's early game a little bit, which they didn't, right? The problem with the brawler board, it isn't even Jax. It's just that it stabilizes so hard if you hit 4 brawler at the stage 2 and then 6 brawler in stage 3, which happens, but it's a high roll, right? But it does happen sometimes. Kai'Sa's star charge attack speed is being decreased at 2 and 3 star. Vayne Silver Bolt's attack damage ratio is being buffed a bit, so instead of only stacking Kai'Sa in the Kai'Sa build now, maybe you could now do a duo carry with Kai'Sa and Vayne. Hopefully that is the case, because it feels bad when I just don't itemize my Vayne at all. But these Vayne buffs aren't that big, because you do have to be careful, because she's played in Duelist a lot too, not just the Recon build. Vel'Koz mana being increased a bit. Yeah, Vel'Koz players are pretty cringe, so I hope all Vel'Koz players just... You know what? Just like unsubscribe if you're one of those Vel'Koz players. And also subscribe if you are not a Vel'Koz player. Units tier 4, Bel'Veth fixed a major bug that caused her not to scale with attack damage granted by items properly. This is a massive buff, so we're also making some adjustments. So in my item video, I remember saying that like she scales really well with attack damage. And theoretically, it was correct because she gets free attack speed from her ability. So since you already get attack speed, you want attack damage. But because of the bug, it ended up being wrong at the time. But now they fixed it, so it'll be correct now. Bel'Veth attack damage is being nerfed a bit. Attack speed per cast being nerfed a bit. And then Endless Banquet damage is being nerfed a bit as well. But of course, you get AD from other sources now. So it's like, I'm assuming the net change is going to be good. Like, we trust them, right? Misfortune now cast towards the largest clump of enemies. I don't know why this even had to be added. It should have always done that. Misfortune now turns slightly faster. Again, same thing as I said before. Bullet time, first bullet damage is being decreased a little bit to make up for this change. But overall, this is definitely a buff because she pretty much trolled her ability before. Set buffed a little bit. Yeah, Set I wish was a real unit. Charge time reduced as well. And then his slam attack damage ratio is being buffed by a tiny bit at 1 and 2 star and a lot at 3 star. Yeah, Set again, like Set, Sylas, Jinx were all not really clickable units. Misfortune's like borderline, right? They just needed a lot of help. Is this enough? It probably is because they nerfed the other stuff so much that they probably are good now. Zac Symbiotic Split health damage ratio being increased, percent health heal increase, and then the passive blobs spawn 100% faster when his passive is triggered. I didn't think Zac needed a buff, but I guess they thought so. I always thought Zac was actually like a really good splash unit in the meta because he was really good against Jax and Yuumi because they're all single target and his blobs cause them to waste a lot of time. But I guess we have different opinions on that, which is fine because maybe in the new meta where Jax and Yuumi are not good, maybe people play Zac less and then he won't be as good and then this buff makes a lot of sense. So maybe that's the angle they're kind of taking. Zed Empower Kill Mode duration is being changed to 7 seconds flat, and then Kill Mode third attack base bonus damage is being increased a little bit. Yeah, that's pretty fair. Overall, this is of course a buff because the duration's longer. You don't care about 3-star Zed that much, and then yeah, he just gets more damage. Was Zed bad? Because he was carried by the Duelist trait, which is being changed a bit, but was he bad? I remember in the first week of the patch, you played him with the hacker build. It wasn't until people discovered the duelist build, like the vertical duelist, and that kind of made Zed bad because you didn't really rely on him. So that one's a little tough to actually say for sure if he needed this buff or not. Units tier 5, Aphelios, attack damage ratio is being nerfed a little bit. For purple, blue gun, it's being increased, and then red gun, it's being increased as well. I'll be honest, guys, like, I forget what each of his things does. I'm guessing this one's the stun one, the purple one, and yeah, that one needs a nerf because everyone just defaulted to this one. And then buffing the 2 damage ones, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that has to be what it is. Purple has to be stun, blue and red are probably the damage ones. I thought they would do it in terms of like left, right, and center, but this might just be alphabetical or something, so it looks like that instead. Fiddlestick's max mana buff is being changed from 90 to 66, so his second cast is very relevant. Did Fiddle need buffs? I felt like Fiddle is just like the default throw-in legendary. Same with Urgot. Did he really need a buff? I don't know. I think the meta just needed to change for him to kind of come back in. Because obviously player damage, they reduced the chances of going to level 9. But yeah, I still played Fiddle a bunch. Mordekaiser's starting mana buff, and then Skyline's damage is being buffed as well. They changed it from 400 to 420. Interesting. 600 to 630, and then 3000 to 55555. I'm actually really scared of a 4 ace build because it seems like a lot of the aces got buffed. Syndra mana buff. Whoa, really? They're buffing Syndra a lot. They buffed Syndra last patch. They're buffing her this patch. Again, I thought she was really good. Same reason with the Zac. She was just good in the meta. And then maybe because Jax and Yuumi will not be meta anymore, hopefully Syndra will need the buff to compete in other aspects. So maybe it makes sense that way. Urgot Undertow passive autos damage attack ratio is being increased. Passive autos attack speed ratio is being increased as well. And then stun duration being reduced at 1 star and the same at 2 and 3. Makes a lot of sense. He was a bit too strong as a CC bot. I'd like to see him itemize. I felt like the best thing to do with Urgot was not even itemize him and then just itemize everyone else unless you really had no one else to. And just use him as a stun bot. But yeah, making him more of a damage unit kind of makes him more fun to play. Treasure chest drudge chance is being increased. Whoa, that's a sizable increase. And then the chance for an item component is being reduced to kind of compensate for that. But overall, that's still really good for him. Items, blue buff, ability power being reduced. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It's turbo broken in the mid game right now because Yuumi item holder, Sona item holder, Zoe item holder, LeBlanc, like there are way too many to even list. Dragon's Claw bonus magic resistance being buffed a tiny bit. Giant Slayer reduced by 5%. Hextech Gunblade Omnivamp increased by 5%. I think Hextech Gunblade was the sleeper item of last patch and they're buffing it. So that's going to be really interesting. They actually don't explain the reasoning why for the Hextech Gunblade buff. But if you look at the data at least, the data can be biased. Don't get me wrong. Data is biased a lot of times. But Hextech Gunblade was actually one of the best performing items on a lot of the AP champions, which was very interesting to me because I did see some good players build it a lot, but like it wasn't mainstream by any means, right? You just do the default like best in slot items, and none of them included Hextech Gunblade. But should Hextech Gunblade be considered a best in slot item for some of these carries? It's really hard to say because in TFT, most comps really concentrate on 2 units, the main tank and the main carry. And this one's kind of like a support healing item, which just makes it kind of awkward to use. Infinity Edge bonus attack damage is being buffed a tiny bit. Demon Slayer, that's the Radiant Giant Slayer, is being buffed. And then Bulwark's Oath, which is the Radiant, I believe, Locket. Is that Radiant Locket? Shield duration increased by 5 seconds. No, this is Protector's Vow Radiant. It's being increased by 5 seconds. Okay, makes a lot of sense. Is that the one? Yeah, it has to be the one, right? I don't pay attention to the Radiant changes that much because I rarely get the items, so these changes are very minor. Hero augments. Okay, so how long is this list? Interesting. Not that long. But Lee Sin's Flurry augment is being reworked to Cleansing Safeguard. You gain a Lee Sin. His ability costs 30 less mana to cast, and when he casts, he sheds all negative effects and heals 18% of his missing health. Makes a lot of sense. The other one you never wanted. Ash Laser Focus being buffed. Flaming Ricochet buffed. Growth Spurt nerfed a little bit. Yeah, Lulu reroll is kind of cringe. Foster Growth is being buffed. Lux Illuminating Singularity being nerfed. This one was super OP. I feel like a lot of people didn't know that this one was OP, but you get it. And if you have any bit of Luxes or any bit of good items for her, you just pretty much automatically top 4 with it. Loosen Barrier. Yeah, I thought this one was really strong too for all AP comps. Renekton, Reign of Anger, bonus attack speed is being buffed a little bit. Silas Kingslayer buff, Wukong re-energized nerf. Yeah, this one was super broken as well. Anti-Reflector Shield, this one definitely needed buff. I thought it was really good in the early game, but of course it does fall off. But it still needs a buff overall. But in the early game now, I think this is going to be absolutely dangerous to enemy teams. I'm going to take this a lot, I think. Rising Spell Force, bonus attack speed being nerfed a bit. Okay, so what I talked about before is happening. Ezreal Raider Spoil, you don't get gold anymore. This one's pretty broken, right? I don't know why I gave 1 gold before. But the fact that you could get Blitzcrank Hook is really annoying because you don't know whether you should play around it or not. Vi Boxing Lesson, nerf, very well deserved. Honestly, I'm down to make this 150. Would that be too weak? I guess they nerf brawlers a bit, so I guess it's fair. Siphoning Winds Omnivamp reduced by 16%. Yeah, this one's turbo broken too, but is this too much? Because I guess he overhealed a lot before, so maybe it's not too much. Predatory Precision bonus AP is being changed from 30 to 5. Like, I feel like they're nerfing Yuumi in too many ways. I don't think Yuumi's actually going to be viable anymore. Like, mascots are shot. There's obviously the new Chinese build version, which has like Nyla and stuff, but I don't know. They nerfed Yuumi so hard. I think it might be too much. Alistair Behemoth health bonus is being increased by a little bit. Smash mana regeneration increased as well. It's not that these augments were bad, it's just that Alistair's bad, so maybe buffing them makes him a little better. I mean, Alistair kind of has to be a little bit bad because he is a 3 type unit, so he just works in a lot more comps. Cho'Gath Cosmic Barrier magic resistance reduced a bit. Rammus Spike Shell, yeah, this one was really good. Reduced a bit as well. Armadillo reduced as well. Sona Power Grid, this one really, 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 really good. Bonus AP being reduced by 20, so very glad about that. This one was pretty much auto take if you're an AP player and you just want to stabilize with Sona. It's just way too good. Vayne Spread Shot extra damage is being increased. Yeah, Vayne and Kai'Sa wasn't changed? Holy cow. So they nerf Kai'Sa, but they don't buff her augment. I don't even like getting the augment on her. Like, when I'm playing recons and I get a Kai'Sa augment, I'm like, dang. I wish I just got like a Rammus one or a Cho'Gath one. I don't even like them. Or I just wish that there weren't any champion augments at all, because I feel like for 3 costs, hers are underwhelming compared to everyone else's. It's not that it's bad. If you're forcing a comp and you get the champion augment for like your primary carry, of course that's never a bad thing. But the fact that other players spike harder, and the fact that I'm not excited to get the Kai'Sa augment, any of the support or the carry one, I feel like that's not a good feeling to have. Vel'Koz is going to have his Frozen Tundra chill duration 8 seconds. Aurelion Soul impact velocity stun duration reduced a little bit. Bel'Veth Voidling health percent. This one is so good. I hate facing this, but I'm glad it's being nerfed. Samira Daredevil attack speed is being nerfed. Yeah, that one was really good. Stoneweaver bonus AP reduced by 5. Stoneweaver bonus damage to enemies above 1600 max health is being reduced too. And then Be the Stone. Be the Stone is just way too good. It shows up way too often, and this just buys her a lot of time to just do a lot of casts. So I'm glad all the Talia ones are being nerfed. You know, I just noticed Talia was not nerfed in the change list. Interesting. Onto Zed. Contempt for the Weak nerfed by 2%. Yeah, so that's just one of those like general duelist nerfs as well. Aphelios locked and loaded bonus attack damage by 5%. Locked and loaded attack damage per second nerfed by 5% as well. I heard this one was really good. I've never actually was able to try it myself, but let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below for Aphelios. Armor piercing round sunder is being changed from 10% to 20%. Yeah, that's very well deserved because you already have like armor piercing whenever you're playing sure shots anyways, so it's a little redundant. Fiddlesticks traumatic memories health gain per allied death is being changed from 200 to 350. And then Nunu, they see me rolling bonus AP. Yeah, this one was very popular. I always saw people taking this one. I didn't know if it was because people just thought it was fun to use or if it was actually good, but apparently it was good. Syndra empowered reserves bonus AP is being changed from 6 to 5. Yeah, this one I saw doing okay as well. But I think out of the legendaries ones, like definitely this one was the most popular, the Nunu one, at least in my games. Augments, blue battery disabled, very nice. Yeah, blue buff plus blue battery is just so stupid, right? Built different 1 disabled, double trouble 1. Yeah, I explained these when we went over the summary. It makes a lot of sense. Pandora's items, they already didn't have it enabled, right? But they're planning on re-enabling it next patch. Built different 2 is getting... Whoa, that is a pretty sizable nerf, right? This is the health on different stages. That seems really big. Okay, so it gets a lot worse in the early game, but towards the late game, it kind of stabilizes out. I guess that's fair. Yeah, actually, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Double Trouble 80 AP armor MR reduced by 5 on both Double Trouble 2 and 3. Yeah, this one's really dangerous in a lot of the 3-cost reroll comps, but those 3-cost rerolls didn't really rely on super, so they're not affected as much by the super's nerf. So I guess nerfing Double Trouble a bit makes a little bit of sense. Electrocharge damage is being reduced across this in the early game, and then it kind of scales up to the same. Same with Electrocharge 2. Oh no, 2 is nerfed across the board, it looks like, and 3 nerfed across the board as well. What do I think about Electrocharge? It's obviously still an early game augment because it's just, that's where you get the most benefit from it, but what range is good for it? If you're nerfing brawlers, it gets a little nerfed as well. This one's tough to judge. Really tough, really tough. Hopefully it's just, it was around like maybe a slightly above average augment I thought before, so now it should just be average, I guess. So that's fine. High Roller, yeah, definitely need to nerf that. The threat build from High Roller is just so cringe because like you don't really need to do that much to get it. You just need to kind of survive. So a lot of people open forwarded for a threat unit on Carousel and then just use the High Roller there. Of course, you could just naturally hit a threat unit too. That's another way to play it, but of course you need to just hit. But I'm really glad that they're nerfing it because this stabilized way too hard. And a lot of these players are those cringe Vel'Koz players, so I don't want to see those guys either. Jeweled Lotus bonus crit damage reduced by 5%. I didn't really think this one was OP, but you know, to each their own. It definitely was good only if you're playing like certain comps though, so I think that's fair, right? Luden's echo damage is being nerfed in later stages. Really? I would expect... like Luden's is good, don't get me wrong. Okay, Luden's 1 wasn't changed that much. Okay, I actually like the way they do this. I thought after seeing the Luden's 1 nerfs, which isn't that much, that the 2 and 3 would be similar, but they actually nerfed 2 by a bunch, which is good because I thought it was like really strong. And then 3, I don't think needs to be nerfed that much, but they're nerfing this one like, I guess, a medium amount. So this one's a small amount, this one's a big amount, this one's a medium amount, I would say. So yeah, that actually does make a lot of sense. So I agree with these. Whether this should be 110 or 115, I'm not actually too sure because I'm not able to play test these, right? But just looking at the numbers and the way they change each one relative to each other makes a lot of sense. Think Fast Gold 8 to 3. Oh, I didn't even know Think Fast gave you gold. Holy cow. I was wondering how they could nerf it. It's just very easy to do. You just give them less gold. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I just didn't even know it gave gold because when I take Think Fast, I just take it and roll and hit everything anyway, so I don't really care about it. Thrill the Hunt 1 heal is being buffed a bit. Yeah, no one really took this, right? Trade Sector 12 to 10. Was Trade Sector Plus that good? I didn't really think so, but I guess they did. Especially since rerolls being nerfed also, like, do you really even take this anymore? Because you're not going to play reroll as much. See, this is, again, what I mean. Like, I feel like they over-nerf some things, but if Yumi is strong next patch, then, like, at me and tell me I'm wrong, you know? Small changes. Okay, we did forget about this. Anima Squad attack damage and AP is being buffed at 7. Okay. We tried playing Anima Squad in the beginning of the patch, and then I wasn't climbing, obviously, because Anima Squad was complete garbage. And then people were like, wow, this BunnyMuffins guy's so low rank. But I'm obviously like trolling playing Anima Squad, right? So that's why I haven't streamed a bit. I just had to climb to get people to stop talking, you know? Because it's just annoying because like people play video games for fun. And honestly, between rank 25 and rank a billion, I don't think there's a difference in your rank because it doesn't do anything for you in life. If you're better than rank 25, then I think it does a little bit. And then obviously if you're like top 10 or rank 1, then it does a lot. But anything below rank 25, I really don't think there's a difference because, again, you just don't gain anything from it in life. But yeah, that's why like I haven't like been streaming that much, but it was due to picking Anima Squad a lot because it's a bunny augment. I have to take all the bunny augments when I'm playing, right? If not, what's the point? Oxforce max attack speed is being buffed a lot at 8 Oxforce. Okay, they nerfed it a bunch. Remember how last patch I said this exact thing? They nerfed it from 400% to 250 or something like that. I forget the exact numbers, but I was like, oh, maybe like a middle of the road number, like 300 would be good. They do it now, but like no one's going to remember that. Renegade bonus damage is being reduced by 10% at 6 Renegade. Yeah, if you're nerfing everything else and then Viego kind of stayed the same, right? I think it's fair because Viego should be a bit better. They didn't really buff too much stuff. They mainly just nerf stuff. They buff MF mainly. So yeah, I think this is fair because Renegade 6 is just really, really strong. Units tier 1, Ash mana buff a little bit. Blitzcrank static defense damage reduction is being increased at 1-star. I didn't really think he needed a 1-star boost, but 2-star probably fine too, but that got buffed also. I don't think Blitzcrank needed this, but I could be wrong. Lux Lucent Singularity damage is being increased a tiny bit across the board, so yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Nerf her augment, but buff her. That's completely fair. Poppy Buckler Toss Shield is being increased as well, being buffed. Yeah, Poppy, she just falls off later on because she's just a weird unit to use, so buff her as much as you want. It won't matter. Units tier 3, Cho'Gath Cosmic Bellow Magic Resistance ratio is being nerfed a tiny bit and 2 and 3-star. Yeah, just very soft touches. LeBlanc Sigil of Malice is being buffed a tiny bit at 1 and 2-star. 2-star LeBlanc I feel like stabilizes pretty well on AP boards, but that was for last patch. Maybe in the new meta it's a little bit different. Nyla Apotheosis heal, she needs to be nerfed, right? Yeah. So what's funny about this is that Nyla normally heals for like 69 per tick, so they changed that. So it won't heal for that much anymore. It'll probably be like 67 or I don't know how many times it ticks or whatever. Rammus Sandslam armor ratio being buffed at 1-star, nerfed at 3. Senna Piercing Darkness buffed at 1 and 2-star, and then Piercing Darkness base damage is being buffed at 3-star. Okay. I don't know why they buff one at 1 and 2, the other one at 3, but I'm sure it makes sense. We'll just have to trust them on that. These changes are so small that like I don't really think it affects things in that big of a way. Aurelion Soul Meteor Shower damage is being nerfed at 3-star. You're never hitting that, so who cares? Samira Flare attack damage ratio is being buffed at 3-star, so same thing there, same thing here. Let's ignore those. Soraka self max heal being changed from 10% to 8%. This makes a lot of sense. I feel like Soraka was going to be OP in the next patch as I was reading these patch notes because I was like, oh, she didn't get nerfed, and I felt like she was pretty solid. And since everything else is getting nerfed, she should be really strong. But they nerf her a tiny bit here. Is it enough? I don't know. I feel like maybe a little bit of damage nerf would have been fine, or maybe like a little bit of a health nerf, like a HP nerf. Viego health is being buffed. Heartbreaker is also getting a slight damage buff, so that's pretty good for him. He should be really good this patch, I think. Units tier 5, Nunu and Willa, biggest Robo Ball ever damage is being nerfed at 1-star and 2-star. That's really sad. I love Nunu when he runs around, so I'm not a fan of this, even if it's fair. Coins from the following augment will now vacuum to the player after spawning. AFK, Birthday Present, Calculated Loss, High-End Shopping, High Roller, Late Game Specialist, Pandora's Bench, Rich Get Richer, Think Fast, Trade Sector Plus, Windfall, and Trade Augments. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It was really annoying to run around and like pick them up, but now it's a coin vacuum, so that's really good. All right, so now on to bug fixes. Not that many, but they probably fix a lot. They just don't document them in the patch notes here. More invigorating than you thought. Lee Sin's Invigorate Hero Augment Tooltip has been updated to correctly state that your units gain attack speed when receiving any shield. I was actually wondering that, and it's not specifically Lee Sin's. Okay, behavior is unchanged. Okay, that's really good. Blue buff will no longer refund mana multiple times in specific situations. Talia, Be the Stone Augment, now works on Ghost Armies. Viego, okay, a lot of Ghost Army fixes. That's really good. Defender, no longer taunt enemies or attacking defenders. Poser, Lee Sin will no longer T-pose if he dies while casting his spell. Clear Mind no longer treats anvils as champions. That's good. Hecarim riders should no longer switch combat targets while their target is still alive. Yeah, that was super annoying. Mainly for LeBlanc. I didn't feel it as much with Zed, but definitely on LeBlanc. Admin tooltip correction. On-kill tooltips have been changed to properly reflect that the bonus is being given to the killer. 2 Vel'Koz casting on the same unit should no longer fizzle to the first cast. Urgot tooltip fixed to clarify attack speed modifier. Lucky Gloves now grants Nyla tank items. I did wonder this. I put it on Lucky Gloves on my Nyla and Fiora, and I felt like I got trolled every time. Lucky Gloves will not grant Fiddlesticks mana items. Lucky Gloves no longer grants Kaisa AD items. Bloodthirster Shield now currently procs once when multiple Bloodthirsters are equipped. Trigger shields still stack. Okay, yeah. This was a bug abuse that people were kind of doing last week. Sivir no longer pauses while waiting for pizzas to be delivered to allies. Laser core drones no longer benefit from damage increasing items such as Giant Slayer, and then fixed an underground bug that allowed for an exploitative advantage. I didn't know that this was a thing. Fix a bug where one of the 4 underground heist payoffs offered less value than intended, and then fix a bug where Belveth would visually register attacks as critical strikes when they were not. There's one bug that I noticed. I didn't report it, but I was too lazy to. There's like a Fiddlesticks bug I had when I played it with Jax. One of his Fiddlesticks augments that powers up a teammate. And my Jax just started autoing nothing. And that was really weird. But hopefully they fix that internally without like having to post it, you know, because sometimes they do that. So before we get into what I think about all the changes, let's take a quick look at the Fortune's Favor and Luna Gala stuff. So it's like the first temporary game mode, and you get YouTube clickbait comps every time. Okay, I feel a little called out there, but whatever. The first shared carousel draft will offer either all 5-cost champions or all 4-cost. Golden Bun. Oh my god, I need to get that. Will visit your arena dropping loot orbs every stage. Golden Bun loot orbs can drop things like Orin Forge items, Tactician's Crowns, Item Removers Gold, Training Dummies, Toma Trades, Champions, and more. Loot orbs will vary in power, yada yada, and then after dropping below 50 health, Golden Bun will hop onto your board to give you a golden orb, which will contain some serious loot to boot, and not a hair too late. Available until patch 13.13 goes live, so we'll have around a month to play it. Lunar Gala event. It's an interactive hub where you help Chibi Panda Annie prepare for a party at the House of the Golden Rabbit. So again, it is Year of the Rabbit. I'll be opening all my eggs that I've saved up for the past year, so we'll be doing a big opening on my stream at twitch.tv/BunnyMuffinsLOL. And yeah, we'll hopefully have fun with that. I'll post it to YouTube as well, so you might as well subscribe if you missed the stream or something and you like loot openings. I'll probably also buy some eggs to get the Bun. Yeah, the Chibi Panda Annie has a 2% drop from her specific eggs, but you could get like lunar variants of Bun, Melisma, and Gloop, or previously released Lunar Revel Little Legends. So I'll definitely be doing that. This is what the skins kind of look like. Okay. Which bunny should I play? I'm feeling, I like this chubby Choco Bun right now. I don't really like these. They're a little too animated, I'd say, but oh, they're actually a lot. Do we have to collect all the bunnies or something like that? I'll probably play either the original or the chocolate one that I pointed out before. But yeah, pretty interesting stuff. So let's get into how I think the game's going to change. Like, obviously, like reroll, I think it's Yuumi at least is completely in the garbage. Jax still probably, maybe it's okay. You'll have to rely a little more on Soraka. But with reroll being a bit worse, people are not going to stabilize on 3-2 as much because you're not going to play those cringe comps, right? Because before, people rolled on 3-2 for Jax 2, for 6 Duelists. They rolled for Kaisa 2, Rammus 2, things like that. And that's just not going to happen as much. So that means maybe Fast 8's back, you know, because you're not going to get hit so hard during Stage 3. Maybe you could level up to level 8 on either 4-2 or 4-5 and be kind of stable. Maybe you'll be around like 40 health or something like that instead of 20. And yeah, that could be one of the more like higher level changes. In terms of specific stuff like comps, like I don't think Yuumi's ever going to be played, right? But forecast definitely a lot better. Maybe like Viego MF is going to be meta right now. Vayne, how do I feel about Vayne? So in Duelist comp, she's good. In Recon, she's kind of bad. Recon's got hit a little bit too. Is Recon going to be viable? What was the Recon buff? I kind of missed that. Did they actually buff the trait? I really don't remember. Okay. The AI dash is better. Okay, that is a buff, but like I felt like that wasn't like that big of a game changer because sometimes they just sit in the back and don't even bother, you know? Because getting Kaisa nerfs really hurts, but I didn't care about Vayne before. Maybe I do care about Vayne now. After that, is Belveth viable? It's too hard to tell because she was just bugged before. So when she's unbugged and then they nerf her a bit to compensate for that, that's so hard to judge because I don't know how much attack damage she actually gets from the items now and from like other sources. Talia should still be good. They didn't really touch Talia, or Star Guardian. They only touched Spellslinger. So I assume the maybe 5-star Guardian version is going to be really good still. I think 6 Spellslinger is still going to hit really hard. There are like way too many Talia builds to even count. There may be like 5 or 6 mainstream versions or something like that of Talia. So losing other stuff such as like Luden's got nerfed a bit, Blue Battery removed, so that does hurt them a tiny bit. But I think overall, like Talia and Soraka should be very solid. I think we're gonna lean more towards forecasts. We'll have to see. I'll be updating the meta snapshot on Friday as I do every Friday, except for the last one because it was just like a 1 month patch and it was kind of like Christmas, New Year's, that type of stuff. But hopefully we'll have all the comps updated for that and we'll be back in business for now. So we'll be back on like the 2 week cycle, patch cycle, which is really nice. But let me know what you guys think. What comps do you think are going to be meta? Are there going to be any like ace builds, like 4 aces, Mecha Prime, stuff like that pop up? I'll definitely be interested. Again, I'll be playing in a tournament this weekend. Hopefully get some like qualifier points. Maybe if we do well, we could maybe play in like the next one too. So that'd be kind of cool. But I hope to see you guys around there. Let me know if you have any questions. And of course, like check out my other social media, Twitter, Instagram. I'll probably do a giveaway of eggs later on. And also like my OnlyFans. But apart from that, that's going to be it for me today. Hope to see you all later.